So he's pathetic. He's small. He's a whiner. We all know that. But you wouldn't have him babysit your kids. You wouldn't hire him if you had a small business. You want that man in your business? There's no way. But you're going to vote for him for president because he's strong? I mean, Kamala Harris whipped his ass in the debate, just obviously, and he's running ever since. He doesn't want any part of her because, as she said before, she's eaten many of his type for lunch as an attorney general, as a prosecutor. He's a small fry compared to some of the people she's gone after. And he knows it. So all he can do is cut people down, and do what he does. We've all seen all that kind of stuff. The ones that you can be even more angry about, because he's sick. He's a damaged man. He grew up the biggest wannabe there ever was in New York, right? We all know that. He wanted to be in the inner circle, but they laughed at him his whole life. Just like Obama made fun of him at that dinner, and he was about to melt. That angered him so bad, it was scary. But he was never accepted. He was treated like a fool, like a clown. And now he's able to just give the finger to the world because of his position now. And that's what he's doing. He's getting back at everybody because he's so small. He's got to go after everybody, just like we all know the generals and Mike Pence and all that. We've all heard that before. But those people around him, the Grahams, the Cruzes, the Hawleys, the Meadows, McCarthy, McConnell, all those guys, all older white men, which so happens to be, they know he's an ass. They said it. I'm not saying that I think they think that. They've told us that ever since, 2015, 16, all that kind of thing. I mean, they've called him a xenophobic, a religious bigot, a racist, unfit for office, on and on and on. Their words. But they're right there with him. Do they not know that they have children and grandchildren probably?
What's up, everybody? Stephen Curry here. You all know I play for the Golden State Warriors, but man, what a great honor it was to represent Team USA and go out there and win that gold medal at the Olympics this summer. And that unity on and off the court reminded us all that together we can do all things and continue to inspire the world. That's why I believe that Kamala, as president, could bring that unity back and continue to move our country forward. This is about preserving hope and belief in our country, making sure families can be taken care of during their most precious times. I got to visit Kamala with my team in the White House last year, and I can tell you one thing I knew then, and I definitely know now. The Oval Office suits her well. So in the words of Michelle Obama, do something. Go vote. Be active. Let's show out in November like never before. It's been an honor for me to represent our country. It's an honor to support Kamala.
What's up, y'all? Gerald here, creator of Gospel Chops and your host for this YouTube channel, back with another video. Now, y'all, if you follow this channel for some time, you know I am Bay Area born and bred. And as such, I've been a fan of the Golden State Warriors for a very long time. Y'all know I'm loyal to the soil. But let me be honest with you and tell you that I have not seen one NBA game this entire season. And I don't feel like I've missed anything at all because I feel like this NBA has turned into the WNBA. No, not the one where the studs run around shooting threes and dunking basketballs and pretending to be dudes. No, not that one. The WNBA, where the W stands for woke. And you got these woke coaches and these woke players and even a woke commissioner who comes out and makes political statements that turn off half of your fan base. Seems counterproductive. Seems like you're trying to sabotage the business. You've heard the term go woke, go broke. Well, it seems like the NBA is leaning into wokeness to their own demise, to their own detriment. Y'all, I came across this story. And I won't go too deep into it, but the headline says why the NBA's ratings are down big and why its new media partners should care. This is as of December the 2nd, 2024, written by Sean Birch. The story reads, y'all, if the NBA were a player and its media partners were its coaches, the message to the league would be simple. You are underperforming after signing your big new contract. Y'all, the league is failing. It is underperforming in a big way, and it's because of people like me who are not watching. You sign big contracts with big networks, and your fan base is not paying attention anymore. Seems like they might have walked away, a good chunk of them. A month into the season, the NBA's ratings are down 28% on ESPN through November 21st. Meanwhile, the ratings for its games on TNT are flat at 1.8 million viewers per game, while ESPN is slightly behind at 1.77 million viewers per game. This comes after every major studio fell over itself vying for the rights to air NBA games this year, resulting in a $76 billion total deal. Y'all, the NBA got paid based on last season's results. Everything was going fine, seemingly. So what could have turned the tide? What has changed things in this entertainment climate that has viewers like myself walking away? What is going on with the NBA? Well, as you saw in those clips at the beginning of this video, seems like the NBA has gotten woke and stepped into a tumultuous political year. You got players that are some of the faces of the league that have came out and endorsed the losing candidates. Not just losing candidates, but losing policies. See, we know they live over on the other side of the tracks behind the gates. They send their kids to private schools. They live lives we don't live. But when they come outside the gates and try to talk to us, us regular folk, and try to tell us what to do with our vote. No, bro. You're stepping out of line, because when you step into this social arena, you come across people like me who tell our children not to aspire to be like you because the odds are so small for success in your arena. We try to steer them away from that into other areas where they will have more leverage, a greater opportunity for success. So when you step outside that gate and you get to talking, trying to tell folks like me to vote for the losing side, bro, we turn you off. I know that's hard for you to hear. I know it's hard for you to imagine, but we stop listening to folk like you because you are using your clout for nefarious reasons, stepping off into politics. Some of us got degrees in politics, bro. You got a degree in basketball. And we don't want to be rude and say, shut up and dribble. But what are you doing when you try to influence the rest of society to think like you think behind the gate? Well, y'all, the proof is in the pudding in this article. In the last decade, NBA ratings are down 48%. They continue to fall because they continue to go with the left because they think that's the way culture is leaning. Somebody licked their finger and saw which way the wind was blowing and got it wrong still, because that ain't the way the wind is blowing. And you saw it with this year's election. And some of the greatest examples I can bring to you are like a Stephen A., who has changed his social and political tune, shall we say, since he struck that $100+ million deal. He's a big voice in the game, but it seems like after he put pen to paper and inked that deal, he has moderated himself. He has come back from the left and is trying to straddle that fence in the middle. Well, y'all, I've come across another example. Colin Cowherd, one of the biggest voices in sports media. Well, caught his voice on the radio the other day, and he was espousing some things that equated the NBA to the Democrat Party. Losers. But he recognizes the link between the sport league and the social climate. Y'all check out what Colin had to say about the social climate and how it affects the modern day NBA.
I think Roger Goodell has navigated a multitude of cultural changes. That CTE issue, that was bad and overlooked for a long time by a previous commissioner or two. And here he's made the PAT interesting. He tinkers, he evolves. And the NBA, meanwhile, ratings are down 48% in the last 12 years, and they have fallen off a cliff this year. And Adam Silver's solution is let's make the courts brighter. And I like the NBA, but the All-Star game is now embarrassing, and I think load management is a shame on the league. It is a really bad look for a family of four to go to a game and Giannis doesn't play or Embiid doesn't play. I'm sorry. Go ask the Democrats. Be warned, once you detach from regular people in America, you will pay a price. And it is not easy to run these leagues. Rob Manfred, I know Rob, I would support Rob. You know, he gets nothing but criticism because he's like, hey, we got to make our games faster. We got to get stars at the plate. So I'm gonna change a pitch clock. Regular season, I'm gonna put a guy in extra bases, second base to speed up. Nobody wants a 4.5-hour game on a Tuesday night in Cleveland. I'm going to take the defensive ship. Rob Manfred now is considering the golden at bat, which has got a Willy Wonka feel to it. But in the end, Rob Manfred has television networks going to him saying, we're not going to renew, including this one. Make the game faster. He did. Stars got more at bats. They got rid of the defensive shift, and Fox got great ratings. So my take is nobody likes any president. They don't like Trudeau in Canada. They don't like whoever's in the office here. Nobody likes anybody, and commissioners get nothing but crap. But the NFL, because there's a lot of regulated violence, Dana White has to deal with this. Hockey commissioners have to deal with this. Nobody's tackling baseball players very often. And he's had to deal with social changes, cultural changes, COVID. And I think they've done a great job to navigate it. It's not perfect, but the media too often pushes against power. And I do think there has to be a safeguard for power. For the pharmaceutical industry, our government, FBI, I am for that. And I think the media has a real role in that. But I've always thought the sports media just takes shots at a lot of these commissioners, and especially Goodell. This is a hard league. It is a hard league, and it's got a connectability to the American Midwest and regular people. And if you start looking at the markets that are winning in this league, tiny Baltimore, Buffalo, Green Bay, Kansas City, connectability.
So you see what's going on there. And if you're rational like me, you can understand what he's trying to say. And you see the tie-in between the social climate in America, the social change that's sweeping across this country, and where the NBA stands in a losing position. Maybe they will turn that whole league image around like Colin has turned himself around. Yeah, he sounded pretty good there, but just a few months ago, he was talking another language. Seems like he was on the other side just a few months ago. Yeah, he was anti-Trump, he was anti-MAGA. He was on the left because he thought that's the way the wind was blowing. But since the election, seems like he's had a sudden change of heart. Yeah, you're talking right in that clip, Colin Cowherd, but what about this one?
You know, I've said this about Trump before. He's trying to sell me an America that doesn't exist. Let's say I got busted for some really bad crime in court, a drug crime, and my wife did too, in a separate case. And then so did one of my kids, my manager, my agent, and my attorney. It would be reasonable to conclude that I'm shady and involved in a business that's not terribly legal. Well, Donald Trump is now a felon. His campaign chairman was a felon. So is his deputy campaign manager, his personal lawyer, his chief strategist, his national security advisor, his trade advisor, his foreign policy advisor, his campaign fixer, and his company CFO. They're all felons, judged by the company you keep. It's a cabal of convicts. So it's not that I'm not willing to vote for conservatives. I said I would have voted for Mitt Romney. Seemed like a decent family man. I liked the second Bush. George Bush Sr.'s son. I liked him. I thought he was a decent American, a decent human. I liked his wife, Laura Bush. I thought they were decent people. If everybody in your social circle is a felon, I don't think it's rigged. I don't think the world's against you. And to get people to agree on anything 34 counts, 0 for 34. I mean, that's a batting slump even the New York Mets could be impressed with. 0 for 34. When you're constantly trying to sell me on an America that I don't see, I'm not saying inflation's not an issue, but I get on airplanes all the time, and it's not a bunch of rich people. I get on planes, there's people in normal clothes, they don't look rich to me, and the planes are all full, and the hotels are all full, and the freeways are all full. That means people are going to work. You're trying to sell me on this story and this narrative that's just not true. Trump's entire game plan is the country is in a free fall. But when everybody in your team, everybody in your group, your cabal is a felon, maybe the world's not against you. Stop trying to sell me on everything's rigged. The country's falling into the sea. The economy's terrible. The economy's okay. It's not like on fire, but the America that I live in is imperfect. But compared to the rest of the world, I think we're doing okay.
And there you have it, y'all. Seems like voices, strong, prominent voices in entertainment and sports media are making a pivot to the right. Why? Because they see the climate has changed. They see what is to come when President Trump takes office next month. They understand the transition, the transformation that is going on in this country. You and I believe that it's a transformation for the better. People like this who have long since been on the other side, we don't know if they really believe it or if they're just going along for the ride, if they are just moderating their previous statements to try to go along and get along. Do they really believe what they're saying now, or do they believe what they were saying just a few months ago? Colin Cowherd, we heard what you said. We understood you then, and we understand where you're coming from now. We don't think it's genuine. We don't think it's authentic. We think you're shifty. But it's okay. I wonder, in a climate like this, if the NBA will follow suit, will follow the voices of a Colin Cowherd, will follow the voices of a Stephen A. and say, hey, for the sake of this league, are we going to go down with our left-wing social beliefs? Or are we going to moderate ourselves like some of these talking heads that cover our league? Are we going to tell our star players, the faces of the league, a LeBron, a Steph Curry, we going to tell them to pipe down or to pivot? Something has to happen because it seems that the league has gone woke and will soon go broke if they don't do something. Welcome to the new WNBA, the woke NBA. Y'all let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to know your thoughts on this topic. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video so we can get more people involved in the conversation, y'all. And like I always say, always remember and never forget, without the gospel, it's just chops. Until next time, peace.